We spent 6 nights at the Melia Vinpearl Resort in Phu Quoc in a 3-bedroom beachfront villa, and what a luxe day. But is it worth it with kids? In this episode, I am showing you everything you need to know about Melia Vinpearl. Hi, I'm Danny, mum of 2 and creator of Vacate This, where we turn family travel moments into real life learning adventures. And today, we're checking out the Melia Vinpearl Resort in Phu Quoc. Let's check it out. Have you heard of Phu Quoc? No? Jump on Google, Phu Quoc, images, scroll. Epic, right? So amazing. And this is where the Melia Vinpearl is located. It's located on the north end of Phu Quoc. This is an ultra luxe stay. We originally booked a 3-bedroom lakeview villa, and to our surprise, we were upgraded to a 3-bedroom beachfront villa with a private pool and part of the level perks. These perks, it included things like a turn down service, pillow selection, free drinks for most of the day, and then alcoholic drinks and canapes between happy hour periods. I think it was between 4 and 6. Overlooking the ocean, the water, sunset, absolutely stunning. The resort itself, Melia Vinpearl Resort, is absolutely gigantic. I think it took about a 10-minute buggy ride to get us from the front check-in all the way to the level and where our villa was. Definitely too far for the little lads to walk around from one place to the next. If they're a bit older, I think they had bikes. You can hire some bikes to be able to travel around the resort. And obviously if you want to go for a stroll, you are more than welcome to. But yes, buggies generally required. And again, quick phone call, jump on in, and they'll be at your service to take you where you need to go within the resort. The villas were so beautiful. They were large and designed for families with their private pools and multiple bedrooms. So we had a 3-bedroom beachfront private pool villa. It had a private kitchen and private dining area with lounge. All of the rooms were large with big en-suites and plenty of cupboard space. I think 2 of the rooms were king queen, and then one of the rooms we had 2 singles, which worked out perfectly. The pool area was stunning. An infinity pool overlooking the ocean. Plenty of seating with 2 types of cabanas to lounge in. It was absolutely gorgeous. We spent a lot of our time morning and night swims. The kids absolutely loved it. The beach here is beautiful. It's very calm, not a wave beach, so suitable for the little ones to splash around and play in. The sunsets on this beach were absolutely incredible. Some of my favorite photos I've ever taken are of this sunset. And the beach you can walk, it's a quiet beach. There was hardly anyone around when we were staying at this resort, so you kind of felt like you had the beach to yourself as well. On clear days, we were actually told that you could see Cambodia, which is pretty cool. The resort felt like it was split up into sections, and each section had their own pool and kind of like a communal space, I guess. So as an example, one space was the level, and that had your private pool where you would go if you were part of the level perks. Another section was where you would go for breakfast, and it had a kids club. Another section was where you went for the spa. So it felt like it was sectioned by activities. There is a dedicated kids club, and we did spend a lot of time here. The staff were so attentive to all the kids and really got involved with all the kids. They weren't just sitting kind of behind a desk just watching and observing. They were actually getting in amongst and playing with the kids. Again, our kids were very little, so we would stay the entire time. But we spent a lot of time here. I think after every breakfast or after any themed dinners that we were at, we would hang around here for an hour or 2. It had a big ball pit with slides. It had cars that they could drive in. It had Lego, arts and crafts, you name it. They did yoga, lots of different activities. My kids absolutely loved it. In this section where they had the kids club, they also had the buffet breakfast and the kids pool and playground. The playground was great. They just didn't have any shade on the playground. So Vietnam, and again, at the time that we were there, it was extremely hot and humid. The kids just couldn't play on the playground, which they were devastated on. So the pool was great. The kids went in there a couple of times, but they did prefer the private pool. They just had their own space and they could do kind of whatever they want in there. The big pool area had, it was very, very large, quite deep. with the sectioned area being quite shallow, you know, only kind of up to your knees. So the kids feel a lot more comfortable in there. There wasn't any slides or anything like that to go down, but still fun. They had a big waterfall, a big fake waterfall, which was fun for the kids. In this section as well, it also had the buffet breakfast. The buffet breakfast was fantastic. It had all of your main dishes. It had a lot of Vietnamese. It had a lot of Western foods, even a kids station, which was pretty incredible. The one thing I will mention here is we did have to wait. There were a lot of people coming at the times that we were going to breakfast. So they did open up both restaurants. One was upstairs, one was downstairs. And they said it was the same food, but when we were in that kind of bottom one, it just didn't feel like you had the same options, but amazing nonetheless. It was fantastic. In terms of location, so Phu Quoc is quite large, and all of the tourist destinations that you would want to hit when you go there are quite separated. So there's quite a bit to do in the north, quite a bit to do in the south. So I would do some investigation on what you want to see and where best to stay, which is what I had done. If I had my time over, I'd probably split up my time, but I'll get into that a little bit later. I have spoken a little bit more about this in the full Vietnam recap, so be sure to check that out as well. This resort is, again, on the north end of town. It's located near a couple of the main hits that you'd want to see, which is VinWonders and Grand World. They have a little local bus that you can jump on. It doesn't take very long to get there. Then they also have kind of the internal buggies around Grand World that can get you to A and B. In terms of the actual resort internally, it is quite far, like I mentioned, to walk anywhere. So we found that when we were going to breakfast or we were going to the main section of the resort to get a bus to Grand World, it was buggy after buggy after buggy. So at times that was a little bit annoying, but better than the whinging of the little legs. So jump in the buggy. The pros and cons, let's jump into some real talk now. The pros for me would have to be the villa. The villa itself was absolutely gorgeous. My core memories of Phu Quoc were the sunsets and the nights in the pools. They are my core memories. They are the parts that I remember about Phu Quoc. Also the perks, the level perks. That was such a great feel. We didn't have that in our original booking, so thankfully we did get upgraded to have that and we didn't pay for it. But that just added that luxe feel to the stay, in addition to, you know, the beachfront private villa. What more could you want, right? The cons to this would just be just how large everything is. And with little kids, I think if you had older kids where you could kind of hire some bikes and ride around the resort and go explore, that would have been helpful. But my kids were just too little to be able to do any of that. So it did feel like every time we wanted to go somewhere, again, packing the bags, you know, even to go to the main pool, it was all right, packing the bags, got to get the buggy. Oh, I forgot the sunscreen. Okay, I'll get the buggy back. And then it just was just a bit of a pain. But again, it's a luxe resort and it's massive. So if you want the private villas, that's what you get. So a con for me, for my preference right now with my family, but not a con overall. Would I stay there again? I loved it. I loved the stay. I think it was beautiful. It was a luxe stay, gorgeous rooms. We had a great time. But again, which you'll see in the full Vietnam recap video, Phu Quoc is just so spread out. So I would probably mix up my time between north and south. And just for the fun of it, just test out new hotels, see what they offer. This was more of a luxe day rather than a dedicated family friendly. If you compare to the Nha Trang or the Da Nang resorts, there are more family friendly hotels available on the island. So yeah, I would probably check out something else. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this helps you plan your epic Vietnam adventure. Be sure to check out the Vietnam playlist. There is more videos on things to do, things not to do, activities to do, places to stay, that kind of thing. And remember to subscribe and like the video, and we'll see you again real soon.